new to many of us. What is the Convention for Biological Diversity? Well, it's a global convention to conserve the rich diversity of life on Earth. It was launched in 1992 with three main objectives: conserving biological diversity, sustainable use of the components of biological diversity, and fair and equitable sharing of the benefits arising out of the utilisation of genetic resources. So at present there are 192 states in the European Union that are currently parties to the CBD. Provides not only a model for global best practice, but also a host of tools and mechanisms for making, executing and reporting on biodiversity strategies and action plans. And we'll talk a little bit later about what those are. So Hong Kong is not currently a party to the convention, either in its own right or as part of China. However, the Hong Kong SAR government has got permission from Beijing for China's membership to be extended to Hong Kong, and it reiterated this commitment in the 2010-2011 policy address, i.e. the last policy address. So the Hong Kong government has yet to announce the exact date when this is going to happen, but we understand that the Beijing government is processing the paperwork for this at the moment. So why is it important that Hong Kong joins the Convention for Biological Diversity? Well, I'm sure many people in this room don't need reminding that Hong Kong has an extraordinarily diverse range of species, supported by habitats of great natural beauty, from the grasslands of our mountain tops to the coral communities of our offshore islands. We really are blessed. Taken together, they provide a range of ecosystem services, ranging from the provision of water and food to places for recreation and retreat that make Hong Kong one of the most beautiful and attractive places to live in Asia. Hong Kong also serves as a key refuge and gene pool for South China's heavily depleted native biodiversity. Just a few figures for you, just to highlight the point of just really what a rich biodiversity we have for such a small locality. 56 mammals, more than 500 bird species, 2,400 moths, 110 reptiles and amphibians, 2,100 vascular plants, a dolphin, a porpoise, more than 1,000 species of marine fish, more corals than the entire Caribbean. I could go on and would happily do so, but I probably better leave it there. So Hong Kong's biodiversity, even though we may not think of it in those terms on a day-to-day basis, is certainly a key aspect of what makes Hong Kong the most livable city in China. The Convention for Biological Diversity is not just about conserving what's in your own borders, and some of you may be aware that Hong Kong's ecological footprint, so our use of sustainable natural resources, is twice that which is available per person globally, and means that we have to depend heavily on importing global resources from other countries. And we have a responsibility to manage them sustainably. Certainly something like shark fin, live reef food fish, are particular kinds of resources to spring to mind. I think here, Hong Kong at this time now really is a very exciting time for nature conservation in Hong Kong, with recent steps by government to tighten the pocket areas of country parks, including Thailand and Taiwan, to tighten controls on rural development, and to restore the marine environment through the trawling ban, which went through in the past month, and really have gathered strong public support for conservation. So by extending the Convention for Biological Diversity to Hong Kong, we can build a strategic framework that really strengthens these impacts, brings them all together, provides a framework to link them together and make them much more than just the sum of their parts. Before I read out the joint statement, I'd just like to sincerely thank, on behalf of all the organisations, Civic Exchange, for the leadership role and the excellent facilitation that you've played in recent months in bringing this framework together and bringing so many diverse groups together with a common purpose. Well done. Okay, can we pull up the joint statement, please? Okay, so this is a joint statement to the Hong Kong SIO government on the establishment of a nature conservation framework for Hong Kong based on the Convention for Biological Diversity. We strongly support and applaud the Hong Kong SAR government's commitment to include Hong Kong in the Convention on Biological Diversity and the Cartagena Protocol, and trust that this process will be completed by the end of 2011. We call on you to develop and implement a comprehensive and robust biodiversity strategy and action plan for Hong Kong, based on the framework and the timeline drafted by Civic Exchange and the undersigned organisations. So this document here is the framework, and there are copies available at the back of the room. And we call on you to involve the community in the active formulation of this plan, as encouraged by the Convention, in order to make best use of local expertise and to ensure public support for the plan's implementation. So just can you just go back one? So just a quick word of explanation on some of these. So I won't go into detail, but basically the Cartagena Protocol relates to genetically modified organisms, and that part came into the legislation in Hong Kong in March of this year. In terms of a biodiversity strategy and action plan, that is specific CBD terminology, all right, and is very similar to any good business plan. All right, it will state exactly what Hong Kong is trying to achieve in terms of nature conservation, how it's going to get there, and how it's going to monitor it. That all kind of encompassing framework, that really is the new bit, if you like, that we're joining together the pieces of what we have at the moment. Okay, and in terms of the using the framework, so Civic Exchange and many of the environmental NGOs have worked together to produce that. It is not a finished product by any means. It's a framework by name. So what the Green Groups are doing here is calling on the government to take this fantastic process that's been started, take the framework that has been produced, and to work with the community to develop that into a full biodiversity strategy and action plan. Okay, so 25 environmental NGOs and other organisations have signed up to the joint statement. I'm just going to read their names out now. And if, as I call out the name of your organisation, if you're the representative, perhaps if you can come up and sit at the front. And I'd just like, as a note, I think the incredible solidarity amongst the environmental NGOs is unprecedented. You've got larger international organisations focusing on many issues. You've got small local NGOs focused on very, very specific issues, perhaps one or two. But the fact that we're all here together, I think, is proof not just of the importance of the Convention for Biological Diversity, but also its broad remit. So, those organisations are Bloom Association, Civic Exchange, Conservancy Association, Designing Hong Kong, Earthwatch Institute, Friends of Hoi Ha, Friends of Sai Kung, Friends of Dailong Saiwan, Friends of Dailong Wan, Greenpeace, Green Peng Chau Association, Green Power, Green Sense, Green as Action, the Hong Kong Entomological Society, Hong Kong Shark Foundation, Hong Kong Wildlife.net Forum, Hong Kong Birdwatching Society, Hong Kong Dolphin Conservation Society, Kadori Farm and Botanical Gardens, Living Seas Hong Kong, Lung Fu Shan Environmental Concern Group, Ocean Park Conservation Foundation, and WWF Hong Kong. So what I would like to do now is invite two particular groups with quite a different focus, both Bloom Association and Conservancy Association, to share a few words about why you think this is important and what your expectations are. Perhaps if I can encourage you, Stanley, to share with us first.
唔該，得 Cornish。其實 join CBD 其中一個最大首先多謝 Civic 今日俾機會喺度發言。join CBD 最大其中一個好處就係希望政府能夠真係正視 CBD 裏面嘅內容，而 set up 一啲政策同埋有明確嘅方針。譬如喺海洋生物保育方面，海洋生物保育